What's up, guys? It's Devin from Neptune Design, and today I want to talk about bidding systems in Google Ads. Now, I see a lot of people, especially business owners, struggling with getting the right campaigns, and then they struggle with the actual settings for those campaigns, especially bidding settings. So, today I want to talk about bidding strategies. I'm going to talk you through all the bidding strategies and we're going to find out which one is the right one for your business. Now, I've broken this video down into three simple categories. The first category of person that I'm talking to is if you're a newbie, if you don't have a single conversion, but you really want to get started with Google Ads, but you're not sure which are the right bidding settings and strategies for you, you're the first category in this video. Second category I'm going to talk about is somebody who's had a few conversions on their website already using Google Ads, but you're just not getting predictable results. So your results are all over the place and your costs are probably all over the place as well. And the last person I'm going to be talking to is if you've already got conversions and your problem is that your cost per click is way too high. So those are the three people or the three categories that I'm going to cover in this video. So stick around, it's going to be an interesting video. Okay, so for my newbies, the guys who are just starting out, we're going to go into the bidding strategies, and the first thing you're going to do is go to new campaign. This can be any campaign, but I am going to show you search campaign because it's got the most variety and it's going to be a place where I can show you all of the bidding strategies in one place. Okay, so I'm going to say that I want sales, I want to run a search campaign, and I'm looking for website visits, and I'm going to say continue. Okay. And then you'll see that you go over to a section here that says bidding. Okay, so what bidding does is it controls the way in which your advertising budget is spent. So basically all the people who are looking for a certain keyword, they go into like an auction system or bidding system, and the guy with the highest bid and the best quality score usually wins that auction system. So if you're brand new and you're trying out an idea and you're not sure if it's gonna work out or not, you just set up a web page and you want to send some traffic to it just to get a gauge and to see if you are actually going to make any conversions or if people think it's a good idea, then what I suggest you do is go to the section that says select a bidding strategy directly. Okay, now the reason why it says not recommended over here, it's not because you're doing anything bad. It's purely because Google wants you to stay on the settings that they give you because they make the most money if you leave everything on its default setting. Okay, so you're gonna go to bidding strategies and I want you to go to manual CPC. Okay, so if you're starting out a campaign, whether it's an e-commerce store, whether it's a blog page, whether it's something that you just want to drive traffic through, like a landing page, you're going to go to manual CPC. And what manual CPC does is it allows you to manually set the maximum amount that you're willing to pay for a bid. So if you only want to pay $2 and that's it, you can set that as your manual CPC, and CPC stands for cost per click. So you're telling Google the maximum that I'm willing to pay regardless is $2 per click. And you'll also see something here that says help increase conversions with enhanced CPC. Now, the reason why I would suggest that you don't click on this setting is because being a newbie, you probably don't have conversion tracking set up in Google Tag Manager, and you probably don't have any way to track your conversions. So I would suggest that you leave enhanced CPC unless you already have your conversion tracking set up. And I would recommend that you do get conversion tracking because it allows you to report the data from your conversions back into Google Ads. Okay, and you'll also see that Google tries to discourage you with this little error box saying that it may result in lower performance. That's purely because if you set a bid as a maximum, for example, if you say that you only are willing to pay 1 cent per click and everybody else is willing to pay much more, it could be a chance that your ad actually never gets shown. So how do we get around that problem? And we get around that problem with something called Google's Keyword Planner. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. When you go to Google Keyword Planner, changing it over here, you'll basically be able to type in your keywords and you'll basically be able to get a sort of a range of what people are paying. So this is in South African rands, but you can kind of get an idea, and it's available for free to anyone. You just type in Google Keyword Planner, you put in the keywords that you want. So for example, I have luxury cars here, and you can see that if I want to bid on the keyword Rolls-Royce Phantom, there's about 1,000 to 10,000 searches per month. The competition is low, and to get to the top of the page, the highest that I'm supposed to pay is about 13 rand, so it's about $1, and the low range is about, call it, I don't know, 20 cents. So between that range, 20 cents to $1, that's what you're looking to pay. And obviously, whatever country that you go into, it'll be in that country's currency, or whatever account that you go into, it'll be in that currency. So that's how you know more or less what to bid. So if you're a beginner, I suggest that you start off with manual CPC. It's the best way to stretch your budget when you're not sure of a certain idea, or you're not sure if what you're doing now is going to work out in the future. So you're starting from a place where you have no data at all, and you just want to give Google Ads a test run and see if it's good for your business or not. Okay, so the next group of people that I want to talk to is, I want to talk to people who have websites, or you've got e-commerce stores and you are already making a few conversions, but it's very unpredictable. And also with regards to your costs are all over the place. So the good news is that because you already have conversions, and I'm guessing that you already have your conversion tracking set up, the good news is that you can take advantage of some of Google Ads' automated machine learning bidding strategies. And what these do is they make your life a whole lot easier, because you don't have to manually bid on every single keyword. The machine learning goes into your previous data and it looks when it deems a conversion to be highly likely, and then what it'll do is it'll bid high on that specific keyword. And obviously it's basing all of these decisions that it's making on the data that you've been giving it. So if you've had, I don't know, if you're looking at about 7 conversions in the past 30 days, then I would recommend that you use these 2 bidding strategies. Okay, so the first one that I recommend that you go for is your target CPA, or your target cost per acquisition. What this is going to do is it allows you to set a certain target cost that you want to pay to get a conversion. Okay, so if you set your target CPA to about $100, it means you're willing to spend about $100 to get a conversion or to get a customer. Now, be warned, if you set your target CPA unrealistically low, that means you're not going to get any conversions, because the automated bidding strategy, no matter how good the machine learning is, it's never going to be able to reach an unobtainable target. So it has to be something within the realm of what you're already doing, and you can set it slightly lower. So for example, if your target CPA, or if your normal CPA that you usually get is $50, and you want to see if you can get a conversion for $30, then set your target CPA for $30. That's more than reasonable. But if you find that you're getting your conversions for $100 and you say your target CPA is $1, then obviously it's an unrealistic target and it's not really going to work out the way that you want it to work out. Okay. Another way, or another bidding strategy that you can use, and this is for a different type of business owner, is if you're looking to drive traffic through to a page for the cheapest amount per click possible, you can also look at maximize clicks. When you go with maximize clicks, basically you're saying to Google, I want you to spend my budget, but I want you to spend it as cheaply as possible, and I want you to get me the lowest amount per click that you can. So if you're the type of business owner that you already know your demographic, you've already got everything else sorted out, you're just trying to drive traffic through to a page, maybe a blog page, something more to do with awareness, not that you're necessarily focusing on, getting a lot of conversions, then I strongly recommend that you go for maximize clicks. Once again, disclaimer, if you're using any of these bidding strategies, you have to already be having conversion tracking installed. Otherwise, this is going to be pointless for you. So try out target CPA and try out maximize clicks. Okay, so the last group of people that I want to talk to. I want to talk to those people that are already making a lot of conversions, but your costs are too high. Well, your costs are always too high, but your costs are much higher than is acceptable for you. So, first of all, if you are in that group of people, congratulations. You seem to be doing well. Your website is coming along nicely, and you are making conversions, and that's also a big thing. So congratulations on that front. Now, what you want to do in this case is you just want to optimize and make sure that you are paying as little as possible for those conversions. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at the setting that says target ROAS. Okay, that would be your target return on advertising spend. And the reason why you want to focus on target ROAS is if you have a lot of conversion data, for example, if you have 30 conversions in the past 30 days, this would be your go-to bidding strategy. So target ROAS basically tries to achieve a certain amount of ad spend to get you conversions. So for example, if you are making $100 and if you are spending $100 and you are getting back $400, you can try and set your target ROAS to get you back $500. And once again, just like the people with the target CPA, this setting is best used with common sense. So if you set a target ROAS, so for example, I want every dollar I spend, I want to make back $1 million, and you set that as your target ROAS, you are not really going to get the results that you want. In fact, I don't even think that your bids are going to get you any clicks. So just be very careful with that. But target ROAS, this is what I would suggest to keep your costs under control. And the last bidding strategy that I want to discuss is your maximize conversions. Now, you'll always see that Google has this on at default, and this is probably the number one culprit when it comes to overspending on your Google Ads account. So maximize conversions basically means whenever Google Ads machine learning sees fit that a conversion is possible, even if it's just slightly possible, maximize conversions will basically try and outbid all of the competitors on a certain keyword just to get that click so they can get that conversion. Now, the only problem is if you have limited data, conversion data, this strategy doesn't really work out. So I would only advise using this strategy if you're willing to pay for conversions, you have a nice history of conversions in the past, like I said, 30 conversions in the past 30 days, I would suggest that you go for this, but also you need to be the type of business that is willing to outpay other businesses to get clicks. So for example, in my country, insurance companies and finance companies would use this because they're willing to pay just to get that client, because they know their return on investment from that client, or their return on advertising from that client, is absolutely humongous. So if you're willing to pay for conversions, and you have a lot of good conversion data, then I'd suggest that you use maximize conversions. But the people in the other two categories should try and stay away until they have enough data. Okay, so I hope this was helpful to someone, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, like or subscribe to Neptune Design. And if you need help with your Google Ads, check out the links in the description below. I'll also post a link to the blog article related on this as well, just so that you can get deeper understanding. Thank you very much for watching. This is Devon from Neptune Design. Have an awesome day.